The performance of some candidates in the English language in public examinations has been very poor. Write a letter to the Minister of Education in your country stating the causes of the poor performance and suggesting some measures to improve the situation. Hi, you're welcome to English Lessons Online. In today's lesson, we shall be discussing how to write the formal letter from the beginning to the end. Let's get right into the video. The formal letter. A formal letter is a letter written to someone who occupies an official position. Let's take a look at some examples. 1. Letters written to government agencies. That is, letters to the minister, the member of parliament, the president, etc. 2. Letters written to business firms or organizations, the general manager, the chief executive officer, the human resource manager, etc. 3. Letters written to academic institutions, that is, letters to the headmaster, the principal, the vice chancellor, etc. At the Wassce level, you may be asked to write a formal letter for 50 marks, so it is very important to know how to write the formal letter. Now, we shall be looking at the features of the formal letter. And after looking at the features, we will use a past question to guide us on how to write the formal letter. Features of the formal letter. 1. Writer's address. 2. Date. 3. Recipient's address. 4. Salutation. 5. Heading or title. 6. Introduction. 7. Main body. 8. Conclusion. 9. Subscription. 10. Signature. 11. Writer's full name. These are the features of the formal letter. When writing the formal letter, it is important for the candidate to know all the features. In order for you not to forget the features, make sure you list them down so that when you are writing, you'll be sure you've added all the features to your letter. In the course of the lesson, I'll explain each feature of the formal letter before we go ahead and write it. When writing the formal letter, the first thing you need to write is your writer's address and date. The writer's address is the address of the person writing the letter. In most cases, you can use your school address as your writer's address. When writing the writer's address in an exam, make sure you do not add your name. It is written at the top right-hand corner of the page. It could be in the slanted form or the straight form. The writer's address has at least 3 lines. The first line of the address is the name of the institution, company, or government ministry. The second line is the postal address, and the third line is the name of the place, that is, town, village, or city. When writing the writer's address for a formal letter, it is advisable to use the straight or the block format. This is because your recipient's address is going to be in the block format. Presenting both addresses in the block format makes your work look neat and presentable. Date comes immediately below the writer's address. There are 2 acceptable forms of the date. The first one is, for example, 14th April 2024, or it could be written this way: April 14, 2024. Now we shall be looking at the past question and we'll use that to write our writer's address. Wassce, June 2016. The performance of candidates in English language in public examinations has been very poor. Write a letter to the Minister of Education in your country stating the causes of the poor performance and suggesting some measures to improve the situation. So let's write our writer's address. Tamale Senior High School, P.O. Box 46, Tamale, Northern Region. 1st April 2024. So we started with the name of the school, which is Tamale Senior High School, the box number, which is box 46, the town, which is Tamale, and then here we decided to add the region, which is Northern Region. If we don't want to add the region, we can end our address at Tamale. It has not been punctuated and it is in the straight format. Let's look at our date. We can see that there is a comma after 1st April and full stop after 2024. The date must be punctuated whether you decide to punctuate the address or not. Let's also look at how to write the address with punctuation marks. We have Tamale Senior High School, comma, P.O. Box 46, comma, Tamale, comma, Northern Region, full stop, April 1, comma, 2024, full stop. The last line of the address takes a full stop. All the other lines take comma. So if you decide to end your address at Tamale, make sure you place the full stop on Tamale. And this is another way to write your date. April 1, 2024. Please do not use only numbers to write your date and do not also abbreviate your date when writing a formal letter. The next feature of the formal letter after the date is the recipient's address. The recipient's address is the address of the person to whom the letter will be sent. The recipient's address should be written immediately below the date at the left-hand corner of the page. It is usually made up of 4 lines. So the first line contains the official title of the person you are writing the letter to, for example, the principal. The second line contains the name of the company or organization or academic institution. For example, St. John Bosco's College of Education. The third line contains the box number, for example, P.O. Box 10. And the last line contains the name of the town or city, for example, Navrongo. Make sure you do not attach any date to the recipient's address. The recipient's address is determined by whom you are writing the letter to. So let's get back to the question, and then after that, we'll come and write our recipient's address. The performance of candidates in English language in public examinations has been very poor. Write a letter to the Minister of Education in your country stating the causes of the poor performance and suggesting some measures to improve the situation. The recipient of this letter is the Minister of Education. Please go ahead and write a recipient's address based on this question. So if you have done that, let's write the recipient's address and then you compare and see if you are correct or wrong. The minister, this is our first line. This is the official title of the person we are writing to, the minister. Then our second line, Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education, P.O. Box M40, Accra. Please do not write in your recipient's address the Minister of Education. And here I'm referring strictly to Ghanaian candidates. If you are in Nigeria or any other African country, please do confirm. But in Ghana, this is how to write the recipient's address. The Minister, Ministry of Education, P.O. Box M40, Accra. Take note that the first letter of each principal word is capitalized. Do not capitalize the first letter of because it is a preposition. It is not a principal word. So, are you correct or wrong? Let me know in the comment section whether you were able to write your recipient's address correctly. If you've punctuated your writer's address, make sure you punctuate your recipient's address as well. But if you did not punctuate your writer's address, don't punctuate your recipient's address. So this is our punctuated address. That is the writer's address. We are also going to write our recipient's address punctuated. We have the minister, comma, Ministry of Education, comma, P.O. Box M40, comma, Accra, full stop. So as usual, the full stop comes on the last line. And make sure you do not attach date to the recipient's address. Now let's look at the salutation. The acceptable forms of salutation for the formal letter includes the following: Dear Sir, Dear Madam, and Dear Sir or Madam. If the recipient of your letter is a male, then use Dear Sir. If the recipient of the letter is a female, use Dear Madam. But if you are not sure of the gender of your recipient, you can go ahead and use Dear Sir or Madam. The first letter of each word in the salutation is capitalized and is followed by a comma. Let's discuss the heading or the title. Every formal letter must have a heading. The heading states briefly what the letter is about. The heading is written immediately below the salutation. It is mostly written in block capitals and underlined. However, in Nigeria, when you write the heading in block capitals, you are not supposed to underline. Apart from writing your address in block capitals, you can write it by capitalizing principal words in your address. So look at both examples. Our heading will be based on our sample questions, so go ahead and take a quick look at it. So we are going to look at the first example, which is writing the heading in block capitals. The poor performance of candidates in English language. The poor performance of candidates in English language. This is an example of a heading for the question we are looking at. Another person could write it as the causes of candidates' poor performance in English language. The causes of candidates' poor performance in English language. So there are different ways you can write. This is just an example. I mostly encourage students to use this method of writing the heading, that is the block capitals, because it is very simple. If you are in Ghana, go ahead and underline this as well, but if you are in Nigeria, please do not underline. The poor performance of candidates in English language. This is the second example. In this example, we've only capitalized the principal words in the title. So you do not capitalize prepositions and conjunctions when writing the title of a formal letter using this second method. This method must be underlined whether you are in Ghana or Nigeria. Now let's move to the introduction. The introduction of the formal letter is where you mention the reason for writing the letter. No informal expressions are used. Please avoid asking the recipient personal questions about their life and health. This is not allowed when writing a formal letter. We must also avoid the use of contracted words. Do not use contracted form of words like can't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't. Make sure they are written in full. Cannot, should not, could not, did not, etc. So in the introduction, we need to indicate the reason for writing the letter. And when writing the introduction, we must go straight to the point. We'll go through our question once again and write the introduction for it. The performance of candidates in English language in public examinations has been very poor. Write a letter to the Minister of Education in your country stating the causes of the poor performance and suggesting some measures to improve the situation. So now let's go ahead and write an introduction. And when you are writing an introduction, make sure you begin with a paragraph. Open a paragraph. That's using the indentation method. Open a paragraph and then start your introduction. The introduction is the first paragraph of your letter. So it is important to write it very well. I wish to bring to your attention the persistent poor performance of candidates in English language in public examinations. especially in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (Wassce). It is essential to identify the root causes of this problem and work towards finding solutions, as English language is a critical subject which serves as a foundation for academic and professional advancement. Some of the most common causes of candidates' poor performance in the English language include inadequate qualified English teachers, limited access to learning resources, and poor reading culture. So I'll take the introduction again. I wish to bring to your attention the persistent poor performance of candidates in English language in public examinations, especially in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WASSCE). It is essential to identify the root causes of this problem and work towards finding solutions, as English language is a critical subject which serves as a foundation for academic and professional advancement. Some of the most common causes of candidates' poor performance in the English language include inadequate qualified English teachers, limited access to learning resources, and poor reading culture. So, this is an example of an introduction. You could write it in another way. For example, it could be written as, I wish to draw your attention to the causes of candidates' poor performance in English language in public examinations. Then you go ahead and mention some of the causes. So, mentioning the causes in the introduction is optional, but when you mention the causes in the introduction, it makes it easier for you when you are writing the main body. All you need to do is to go and pick those points, develop them into paragraphs. The main body is where we discuss what has been hinted in the first paragraph, that is the introduction. This is where we give details of what we said is the reason for writing the letter in the introduction. The main body could be made up of at least 3 paragraphs. It should not be less than 3 paragraphs. So if you have 3 points to write on, for example, you can go ahead and develop each point into a paragraph. And each point must have what we call a topic sentence and other supporting sentences. Before we write our main body, let us look at the question again. The performance of candidates in English language in public examinations has been very poor. Write a letter to the Minister of Education in your country stating the causes of the poor performance and suggesting some measures to improve the situation. We can see that this question is in two folds. We are supposed to give the causes and also suggest some measures to improve the situation. So with this type of question, you can decide to write all the causes, then you later write the measures. You can also decide to write one cause, then give a solution to that particular cause, move to the next cause, write and also give a solution to that one. So it depends on how you want to write it. Before we write this essay, let's go ahead and look at some points based on this question. What do we think are some of the causes of candidates' poor performance in English language? 1. Insufficient qualified English language teachers. 2. Limited access to teaching and learning resources. 3. Limited emphasis in reading and writing skills. So these are the points we'll be using to develop 3 paragraphs for 3 courses. After using the first point to develop a paragraph, that is insufficient qualified English teachers, I'll go ahead and write in the following paragraph the remedy to that problem, to the problem of insufficient qualified English language teachers. For the sake of time, I'll be using only 1 point and then I'll give the solution. Then we can move to the next feature. To start with, insufficient qualified teachers can lead to poor performance in English language among candidates. In some schools, teachers who have been trained to teach other subjects, for example, social studies, are made to teach English language due to inadequate number of English teachers. Unqualified English teachers may not have strong grasp of the English language concepts, making it difficult for them to effectively teach and explain complex topics. Some also tend to use outdated and ineffective teaching methods, thereby contributing to poor performance among candidates. So, this is our second paragraph for the essay, and this is the main body. This is our first point that we've developed into a paragraph. So our topic sentence is insufficient qualified teachers can lead to poor performance in English language among candidates. We opened our paragraph to start with, when you are developing your first point, these are some of the words you need to use to start with, to begin with, in the first place, first and foremost. So you need to make use of some of these words when you are writing your essay. In the next paragraph, I'll be giving a solution to this problem. To solve the problem of insufficient qualified English language teachers, the government, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, should train and recruit more qualified English teachers. Continuous professional development opportunities should also be made available to teachers to enable them stay current with the best practices, improve their teaching skills, deepen their knowledge in the English language, and become more effective teachers. This is an example of a solution to our first point. You can continue this letter writing by developing your second point into another paragraph. So you could start by saying, the poor performance of candidates in English language can also be caused by limited access to teaching and learning resources. Remember that our second point is limited access to teaching and learning resources. So we have used it to develop a topic sentence. So go ahead and develop this into a paragraph. Now let's look at the conclusion. You can use statements like to conclude, in conclusion, finally, to conclude your letter. So let's take an example of conclusion for our sample question. In conclusion, I believe that with the implementation of these measures, we can improve the performance of candidates in English language and enhance the overall quality of education in Ghana. The next thing is subscription. Yours faithfully is often used for the subscription of formal letters. However, you can also make use of yours sincerely and yours truly. The subscription is written at the right-hand side of your page below the conclusion. Subscription is followed by a comma. Then after the subscription, we have the signature. A formal letter without the signature is not authentic. Therefore, it is important for the writer to sign below the subscription. Then after the subscription, we have the writer's full name. Your full name comes immediately after the signature. Make sure you write your full name, not your first name and not your nickname. Let's take a look at an example of the subscription, signature, and full name. So below the conclusion, we have yours faithfully followed by a comma. Then you sign and write your full name, Mary Mensah. This is how to write a formal letter in Wassce. Please, if you have any question, go ahead and ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video.